Got it.
Wait, ACU is airborne. They took...
Did you boys serve it?
We have eyes.
Look alive!
No.
Looks like the fox got in the hen house. Streets, go, go!
We're safe now.
Open the gate!
Open the gate!
Okay, okay. Stay right on.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to... Ladies and gentlemen, due to...
Window closed.
Something's wrong.
What it's made of?
What? That thing's part raptor.
No. Everyone is. Oh, sweetheart, you will, okay? You again.
I don't know how!
Boys, okay? Hey! Just about that ever.
That's how it is, huh?
We need more teeth. It's gonna be fine. Larry, are you still there?
And
Damn it, Larry.
Welcome to DP Action Channel. Please subscribe and press the bell icon. Brothers Zach and Gray Mitchell visit Jurassic World, a dinosaur theme park on Isla Blair, of which their Aunt Claire Deering is the operations manager. Clara assigns her assistant Zara as the boys' guide, but they evade her and explore on their own. Elsewhere on the island, former Navy veteran and ethologist Owen Grady has been training a quartet of velociraptors composed of Blue, Delta, Echo, and Charlie, and researching their intelligence. Based on the raptors' ability to follow commands, head of Inland Security Vic Hoskins believes that the animals can be weaponized, an idea Owen and his assistant Barry vehemently oppose. Prior to its opening, Claire and park owner Simon Masrani inspect the park's newest attraction, the Indominus Rex, a transgenic dinosaur created by geneticist Dr. Henry Wu. Masrani tasks Owen with evaluating the enclosure's security. Owen warns Claire that the Indominus lacks social skills, making it dangerous and unpredictable. When the Indominus has apparently escaped, Owen and two park workers enter the enclosure. The Indominus, which can camouflage itself and mask its heat signature, suddenly appears. Owen survives, but it devours the other two men before escaping into the island's interior. Realizing that it is highly vicious and intelligent, Owen advises Masrani to have the Indominus destroyed, but to protect his company's investment, Masrani dispatches a specialized unit to subdue it with non-lethal weaponry, so it can safely be returned to its paddock. After most of the unit is slaughtered, Claire orders the evacuation of the island's northern sector, while Ms. Rainey ponders Owen's warning and confronts Wu. While exploring the park in the tour vehicle, Zack and Gray enter a restricted area. The Indominus arrives and destroys the vehicle, but the boys narrowly escape. They find the ruins of the original Jurassic Park Visitor Center, repair an old Jeep Wrangler, and drive back to the park resort. As Claire and Owen search for the boys, they barely escape the Indominus as well. Ms. Rainey and two troopers hunt down the Indominus by helicopter, but it breaks into the park's aviary. The aviary's pterosaurs crash Ms. Rainey's helicopter, killing its passengers, before converging onto the resort, and attacking everyone, including Zorro, who was then devoured by a mosasaurus. Gray and Zack find Owen and Claire at the resort as armed personnel shoot down the pterosaurs. Assuming command, Hoskins orders the raptors to be used to track the Indominus, where Owen reluctantly complies and spearheads the assault with the raptors. Upon finding the Indominus, the dinosaurs begin communicating among themselves. Owen realizes that the Indominus has velociraptor DNA and it takes away Owen's command of the raptors, becoming the pack's new alpha. Troops fire on the Indominus, but it escapes. The raptors kill most of the troops, while Charlie is killed in the chaos. Hoskins evacuates Wu and the dinosaur embryos from the island to protect Wu's research. Owen, Claire, and the boys find Hoskins at the lab securing more embryos, but Delta breaks in and kills him. Owen reestablishes his bond with the three surviving raptors before the Indominus reappears. They attack the hybrid, but Delta and Echo are killed while Blue is knocked unconscious. Claire releases the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the park's veteran attraction, from its paddock and lures it into a battle with the Indominus. The Indominus quickly gains the advantage over the Tyrannosaurus until Blue recovers and joins the battle. The duo overpower the Indominus until it gets cornered at the lagoon's edge, where it is dragged underwater by the mosasaurus. The survivors are evacuated and the island is abandoned once again. Zack and Gray are reunited with their parents, while Owen and Claire decide to stay together. Back on the now abandoned island of Blair, the Tyrannosaurus goes up to the helicopter landing pad and roars in victory, re-establishing her dominance as queen of the island. The best aspects of Jurassic World, in which a hybrid super predator runs amok in the trouble-plagued theme park, are so good that they transport you that exhilarating mental space where the series' original director, Steven Spielberg, raised a tentpole back in 1993. The worst aspects are bad indeed: thin characterizations, a blasé attitude toward human on animal violence, and a weird male supremacist streak that comes close to sneering at unmarried career women who don't have kids. On the smarter side of the ledger, you can enter 3, maybe 4 large-scale action sequences that do the master proud. Directed by Colin Trevorrow in a style that's Spielbergian but not slavishly so, they are bruising but not overbearing, and laid out with clarity. You always know where you are and what's happening, and you rarely see as much brutality as you think. Some of the mayhem is suggested by sound effects, a blur of motion obscured by foreground objects, or a spray of blood on the wall. Every shot and cut pulls its weight. Every new development makes the sequence feel like a story within a story, with the end goal of getting the hell away from dinosaurs. The final half hour is a sustained chase through dark woods that reverses expectations again and again, culminating in the whirl of dino-on-dino violence, a funnel cloud of claws and teeth. But best in show goes to the sequence where park visitors are attacked by pterodactyls that pluck them from the ground like mice, an homage to the birds that amounts to Trevorrow doing Spielberg doing Hitchcock. You can say a lot of things about this director, but not that he lacks confidence. Less bruising but more intriguing are the bits that feel like preemptive strikes against criticism, or at the very least, examples of a $200 million franchise installment sizing itself up as a consumer product as well as a film. It's as if somebody had taken one of the most discussed bits from the original Jurassic Park, the shots of merchandise emblazoned with the same logo as the film you were watching, and unpacked it with care and joy, as if it were a bottomless, self-referential toy chest. That Jurassic World can think about itself as a sequel without taking us out of the story we're watching makes it truly Spielbergian. When a friend heard the premise of Jurassic World, The park, which has been open for 20 years without an accident, decides to create a bigger, better meat eater. He said the tagline on the poster should be "We never learn." As it turns out, Chris Pratt's character says these people never learn when he hears about the new dino. Park staffers talk about how they introduce new creatures every few years to goose ticket sales. Jaded park visitors are compared to Americans who lost interest in moon missions after the first one, and require bigger, louder dinosaurs with more teeth. The movie is talking about the park series itself, which introduced new dinos each time out to keep viewers interested, and easily bored movie audiences in the age of computer-generated imagery, technology that the first two park films made fashionable. It's also talking about the steady escalation of scale in the blockbuster, which mandated that each new incarnation of Godzilla be larger than the previous one, and birthed superhero films so inflated that on those rare occasions when the good guys save the human race instead of the universe, critics congratulate the filmmakers for daring to be intimate. The cartoon character Mr. DNA makes a brief cameo here, as a prelude to discussions of the new Predator. Ditto the original compound headquarters and the "When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth" banner, and they all remind us of how intimate the first movie now seems, and how comparatively old-fashioned. There's an even better scene where teenager Zach Mitchell, Nick Robinson, one of two brothers visiting the park, takes a cell phone call from his mom while behind him, a T-Rex approaches a goat in a paddock that's decorated to evoke the spot where another T-Rex tore apart two Land Cruisers in the first Jurassic Park. Apparently the elapsed time has turned a moment of life-changing terror for Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, Sam Neill and company into just another theme for an exhibit. The young man in the foreground is so bored with what's happening behind him, just as, presumably, young moviegoers are bored by 1990s Spielberg films. I hope not, that he doesn't look up from his phone when the T-Rex eats the goat. This scene resonates with that moon mission's comment. It also connects to a scene where a whale-sized predator in a SeaWorld-style aquatic theater leaps from the water and bites a great white shark off a dangling hook. This is a marvelous image on its own terms, but even better when you realize that it's summing up the last 40 years of summer blockbuster cinema, starting with Jaws. Every 12 months there's a bigger fish. A few of the action scenes break with Spielberg and tradition by treating the dinosaurs as monsters to be exterminated with impunity, rather than magnificent, human-recreated, once-extinct animals that ought to be admired and pitied as well as feared. Dinosaurs get wiped out by the bushel in this movie, sometimes in scenes that are too obviously inspired by James Cameron's Aliens. There's even a sequence where soldiers' deaths are tallied by freaky first-person helmet cane feeds and flatlining EKG displays. The DNA splice super predator, which goes by the knowingly silly name Indominus Rex, is immense and unnatural looking. Its teeth are so jagged that you wonder if it cuts its gums when it eats. But even though it's basically a dino version of Frankenstein's monster, the film won't allow us any mixed feelings towards it, because that would complicate the movie's first-person shooter style, GWA's attitude toward mercenaries, guns and explosives. Mercenaries. Kids love dinosaurs, this is an undisputed fact, but do we really need them in all our dinosaur movies? In the first Jurassic Park movie Hammond's grandkids were from the book, so I can cut Spielberg a little slack there. But now we have the fourth Jurassic movie and we are still stuck wasting screen time with children running from G-monsters. Does the studio think we need to see kids in danger in order to keep the suspense up? And to make matters worse, director Colin Trevorrow has to toss in a subplot about the kids' parents getting a divorce. Why is he throwing a disaster cliché in our dinosaur movie? This movie takes place 20 years after the disaster that closed down the original park, even before it got opened, but now billionaire Simon Masrani Irfan has been given free rein to bring Hammond's dream to fruition. What he hasn't done is address any of the safety concerns the first film brought up. Jurassic World should have been subtitled Dinosaur Island of Impending Lawsuits, as there seems to be almost no safety precautions to keep the guests alive. Guess how long it takes before we learn these vehicles aren't dinosaur-proof? The movie's main plot revolves around the park needing new and more impressive attractions if they are going to keep the investors happy, because apparently the world has already become blasé about living, breathing dinosaurs. In Jurassic Park, Lost World, Hammond's slimy nephew believed that an island-based park was a bad idea, and he was absolutely right. The expense of feeding that many dinosaurs would be immense, and if you have to ferry everything in, it just doubles the cost. What we never find out is what are they charging for admission, because unless it is several thousand a day, it's not enough to cover for the dino food, staff salaries who mostly likely have to live on site, research facilities, security, what there is of it, and park upkeep. How much does a great white shark cost? And aren't they endangered? Entering the park is Zach Nick Robinson and Gray Mitchell Ty Simpkins, two brothers who were shipped off to Jurassic World because their parents are secretly getting a divorce. Why their parents' marital problems is a secret is never explained, but as the whole divorce thing is completely pointless to this movie, let's not worry about that. Gray, the younger brother, is the film's dinosaur enthusiast, while his older brother's job is to act bored and stare at girls because dinosaurs are so last year. Their mother chose this park because her sister Claire, Bryce Dallas Howard, runs the place, and for some reason Claire is given the workaholic parent cliché, which doesn't work when that person is the kid's aunt. She hasn't seen her nephews in 7 years, and yet she's supposed to drop everything and play tour guide. Tonight's dinosaur bait. Our other key player is O1 Chris Pratt, an ex-Navy man who is training raptors to obey simple commands, and is shocked when Vic Hoskins, Vincent D'Onofrio, the evil head of Inland Security, reveals plans to use raptors as a military asset. Owen thinks this is a bad idea on mostly moral grounds and not on the obvious problem of raptors not being all that good in a firefight. Corporate greed wasn't enough for this movie, so they had to throw in secret military projects to amp up the evil factor. We could rig shoulder-launching bazookas on them, right? But raptors aren't this film's big bad. No, for that we have the insanely silly named Indominus Rex, which is the latest genetically modified hybrid dinosaur. It was created by Dr. Henry Wu B.D. Wong, who was the friendly scientist from the first movie, but now for some reason he is a black turtleneck-wearing mad scientist. When the Indominus escapes its enclosure, using its genetic superpowers and unbelievable intellect, Simon Masrani demands to know what dinosaurs' genes were used to produce it, but Dr. Wu refuses to divulge the secret cocktail because he is in cahoots with Vic Hoskins. This makes no sense as Masrani is higher up the corporate ladder than Hoskins. So I guess in the next movie we will learn more of the shadowy eviling and corporate shenanigans. And I get to cash another paycheck. Now this may sound like I hated this movie, but I didn't. I was just a little disappointed. None of the Jurassic Park movies can boast great screenplays, so I went in there with rather mild expectations, and for the most part they were met. There were awesome moments of dino action, sadly pretty much algae, and there were a few really good chuckles, but Bryce Dallas Howard's character was so incredibly stupid that any time spent with her was painful. Chris Pratt was fine as your standard action hero, and as dumb as the scene of him leading the Raptor Commandos was, it was still pretty damn fun. Both D'Onofrio and B.D. Wong seemed to have wandered in from another movie, as the escaped dinosaurs rampaging through the park and the secret military project seem like two totally different films. Still waiting for King Kong to show up. This is a big dumb summer blockbuster that expects you to check your brain at the door before diving into your popcorn, and in the vein it is successful. There is plenty of prehistoric carnage to make anybody happy, and Chris Pratt is a lot of fun to watch here. So if you go in with the proper expectations, you will be entertained. This movie will no doubt rake in a ton of cash, and there is stuff here that is clearly setting up for a sequel, so we can all look forward to another trip back to the island. Jurassic notes: Bryce Dallas Howard can outrun a T-Rex while wearing bloody heels. Those gyrosphere vehicles are guest-driven and they let kids ride alone. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm sorry, but I doubt a pteranodon would try and carry off a triceratops. England's security forces try to take out the Indominus with stun sticks. Seriously? The Indominus Rex is bulletproof and explosive-proof but not raptor-proof. Kayaking down a river that has a brachiosaur and stegosaurs wading in it seems a tad dangerous to me. Waiting in it seems a tad dangerous. Thanks for watching.